Alright, so hi guys. So this is basically my participant who is gonna take this survey about surveys, and she's gonna demonstrate what naysaying looks like. Naysaying is basically when a participant or a responder answers the survey in one way, which is strongly disagree or disagree with every single question. For example, she's actually doing it right now, in which she's pressing one in every single one of these questions, where and this basically demonstrates naysaying. All right, next is me. So pretty much, I'm gonna take the survey about surveys, and I'm gonna go through all the questions. Just give me a sec. So here, when we get to the Likert scale like questions, you see me go straight down the middle and press 3 all throughout. So this is a type of answering method which is called fence sitting, where it's it's like naysaying, but you are neutral throughout the whole survey. All right, so now to the boring part. So basically, these are forced choice questions, where in this case there's only two of them. Think of these questions like multiple choice questions found in tests, and basically it's easier for researchers to use forced choice questions because it's easier to code, because they're actually set answers for the participants. So in this case, we are doing leading questions. For example, here, this question, the first question, do you have a problem taking the survey? This means that it's a leading question is because it's assuming that you have a problem already with taking the survey. It's sort of subtly telling you this is a problem for you. Next up, it is the double-barreled questions. So this is basically asking two questions at the same time. This is hard to answer because as a participant, you don't know which part of the question you are answering. You could be answering the first part of the question or the second part of the question or both. So, and it's confusing to actually read as a participant. So now we are talking about negatively worded questions. So in the first question, it says, should we not reduce survey use in research? This is a negatively worded question because not reduce is sort of like saying what? Like it's sort of confusing to the person, and the participant is usually they don't usually get are motivated enough to really think about the question. And then it gives them a moment, and it's sort of like it makes it harder for them to answer the question. And then the next question is, do you never understand confusing surveys? In this case, it's a double negative question, worded question. So in this case, it's never understand confusing surveys. It's like if if it's already confusing, you won't understand it. All right, finally, open-ended questions. So this is my favorite one because you could low-key troll the researchers with this because You could answer any type of way, and they it's a valid response. For example, I am doing maybe no complicated answers. Create, like I'm making a sentence, and in this case, it's making it difficult for the researcher to actually code this when they add it to Excel. Like, how do they categorize this answer? So, how to improve construct validity? So, in this case, this first question, removing problem will increase your construct validity, is because it wouldn't become a leading question anymore. It'll make the question neutral, and being neutral is the key to avoid the question becoming leading questions. Next up is double-barreled questions. So basically, the best thing to do here is to separate the two questions in the double-barreled question and make them two separate questions. And in this case, it will make it easier for the participant to answer because they know which part of the question they are answering. Like in a double-barreled question, we don't know as participants if we agree on the first part only or the second part or both, and it's really confusing. And uh, in another form of questions, negative questions are as confusing as double-barreled questions because in this question right here, it's like a big circle, and pretty much in order to avoid negative questions or double negative questions, if you are able to run your survey without it, it's better to do so because being neutral is the best. But if you do run a question that is negative, follow up the question with a positive type worded question so you could sort of see if you are measuring the same type of construct. Lastly, we have the open-ended questions. Here is pretty much easier to avoid because most of our questions are in surveys are forced choice because it is harder to make constructs or categorize the answers for open-ended questions.